How social media tricked us into loneliness. Vertical bar, mindful way television. Have you ever felt more alone while surrounded by thousands of followers? Do you ever scroll through smiling faces and wonder, why do I still feel so invisible? What if this wasn't your fault but the result of something designed to keep you this way? We were promised connection. The platforms told us that with every friend request, every follow, every like, we'd feel more seen, more loved, more together. That the world would shrink in the best possible way and we'd never have to be alone again. But somewhere between all the scrolling, tagging, sharing, and commenting, something got lost. Because the truth is, in this era of hyperconnectivity, many of us have never felt more disconnected, more unseen, more emotionally isolated. This isn't a glitch in the system. It is the system. And here on Mindful Way Television, we're not just noticing it, we're naming it. We call it the loneliness algorithm. An invisible framework built beneath our digital lives, one that offers the illusion of community, while quietly pulling us away from real connection. One that confuses attention with affection and distraction with depth. It's not just changing how we connect with others, it's changing how we connect with ourselves. Part 1. The illusion of connection. It doesn't start with a big shift. It starts quietly. A ping, a notification, a like on your photo. A stranger says, "OMG, same." You feel seen for a moment. It looks and feels like connection, but is it? Social media platforms are expertly engineered to mimic closeness without the complications of true vulnerability. You can scroll through 100 perfect photos in 5 seconds, but never once feel like you were truly witnessed. We think we're connecting, but we're really just consuming. True connection is mutual, but here, it's one-sided. True conversation is slow, but this is instantaneous. True friendship is nurturing, this, meanwhile, is addictive. We keep reaching for warmth through a cold screen. And as we keep scrolling, something within us begins to fade. The part of us that longs to be known, not just noticed. So how did we get here? What's really happening behind the scenes of our digital lives? That's where we turn next. Part 2. The algorithm of loneliness. In the last section, we uncovered how social media gives us the illusion of closeness, but leaves us feeling unseen. Now, let's go deeper, because this isn't happening by accident. Behind every scroll, every like, every suggested post, there's something watching, something learning. It's called the algorithm. And unlike a friend, it doesn't care if you're happy. It doesn't care if you're at peace. It doesn't even care if you're lonely, unless loneliness keeps you scrolling. Because that's the truth. Loneliness isn't a side effect, it's a strategy. The more isolated you feel, the more time you spend online trying to fill that void. If you're lonely, you're more likely to stay. If you feel insecure, you'll keep checking, craving affirmation. If you feel left out, you'll consume more, hoping one day to feel caught up. The algorithm doesn't just notice your pain, it studies it. It tracks what makes you compare, what makes you ache, what makes you linger. And then it feeds you more of that. More highlight reels, more perfect lives, more content that makes you question your worth. It keeps your wounds open because an open wound keeps you online. What it doesn't show you? Content that heals, that grounds you, that reminds you to put the phone down. Why? Because healing makes you scroll less, and less scrolling means less profit. This isn't some glitch in the system. It's the system working exactly as it was built. Because, in the eyes of the algorithm, a lonely user is a loyal one. But what if we could recognize the signs that we've fallen into its trap? What if we could take our awareness and begin to reclaim our agency? Part 3. Signs you're caught in the loop. Now that we've seen how the algorithm quietly feeds our loneliness to keep us engaged, let's take a moment to turn inward. Let's pause and reflect. Because sometimes you don't even realize you're in the trap until you name the signs. So how can you tell if the loneliness algorithm has woven itself into your life? Start here. You log off your apps feeling more drained than when you logged on. Instead of feeling inspired, you feel heavier, like something was taken, not given. You scroll through highlight reels of other people's lives, but feel like your own existence is invisible. You see smiling faces, perfect moments, and wonder why no one really sees you. You find yourself opening your phone without thinking, without intention, just to escape the silence. It becomes a reflex, a distraction, a way to avoid being alone with your thoughts. You confuse notifications with care. A like makes your heart flutter. A comment feels like connection. But when the screen goes dark, so does the feeling. And perhaps the deepest sign of all, you're constantly surrounded by people online but still feel deeply alone. This kind of loneliness isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It lingers in the quiet after the last reel. It creeps in the pause between messages. It's the ache you feel when everyone's talking but no one's truly listening. Digital loneliness is different. It's not obvious. It's not absence. It's emptiness in the presence of everything. Asterisk. But here's the thing. Once you notice it, you're not powerless, because naming it is the first step to changing it. Part 4. Reclaiming true connection. Now that we've named the signs of digital disconnection, the question becomes, what do we do with this awareness? How do we begin to untangle ourselves from something so tightly woven into the fabric of our lives? The answer isn't to escape into the wilderness or delete everything. It begins somewhere far simpler and far more powerful. It starts with presence. Not online presence, not the kind measured in likes or views, but true presence in your breath, your body, and this very moment. Here's what that can look like. 1. Digital boundaries. Give your mind permission to rest. Choose specific times during the day to check your devices, and just as importantly, designate times to be fully disconnected. Let silence stretch without reaching for something to fill it. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but in that discomfort is space to rediscover yourself. 2. Call instead of scroll. Choose one person, just one, and call them. Hear the cracks in their V. 3. Share without posting. Not everything beautiful needs to be broadcast. Write something honest, something raw, something lovely, and keep it for yourself. Or share it quietly with someone who sees the real you. Let your thoughts be sacred, not strategic. 4. Practice mindful loneliness. This is where the magic begins. Sit with yourself. No screen, no distraction. Let the loneliness rise, not to escape it, but to understand it. Notice what it's trying to tell you. Often, what we call it. You see, loneliness isn't always the enemy. Sometimes, it's the doorway. A doorway back to presence. A doorway back to depth. A doorway back to yourself. And when we walk through it with intention instead of fear, something inside us begins to shift. Part 5. What connection really feels like. After all, we've explored the illusion of connection, the algorithm's manipulation, the gentle practices of returning to ourselves, it's time to ask one final, essential question. What does real connection actually feel like? Not the kind that shows up in notifications, not the kind curated in captions or filtered through lenses, but the kind that goes deeper than a screen. Here's the truth. Real connection isn't viral. It's not fast. It's not flashy. It's sacred. It doesn't come from an algorithm. It comes from attention, the kind that pauses, leans in, and truly sees. You'll recognize it when someone looks you in the eye, not your profile. Someone listens without checking their phone or glancing at the clock. You feel safe being messy, awkward, unfiltered, and still loved. That's connection. Not performance, not perfection, but presence. And no matter how many followers you have, none of it compares to being fully met by just one person. That's not what social media sells, but it's what your soul remembers. And once you've felt that kind of connection, once you've tasted the quiet depth of being seen without a screen, something inside you shifts. You begin to crave less stimulation and more stillness. You begin to want less attention and more truth. You begin to realize the screen can't hold you, only presence can. And that realization is where real freedom begins. So here's your gentle reminder. Close the app, look up, take a breath, maybe even place your hand on your chest and whisper to yourself, I'm still here. Because you are. You are not your feed. You are not your metrics. You are not what you post. You are human. You are healing. You are whole. And in a world that teaches us to perform, to compare, to always stay visible, choosing stillness is an act of quiet rebellion. So take this moment not just to watch, but to feel. Let this not be background noise. Let this be a return. This is Mindful Way Television. If something in this video stirred something in you even a little, we'd love to know. Drop a comment below. Tell us what part spoke to your heart, or just say hi. Your presence here means more than you know. And if you're walking this path too of healing, of reflection, of reclaiming your mind, hit subscribe. It helps us grow. It helps others find us. And most of all, it keeps this space alive. Our next video dives even deeper into the subtle ways the digital world shapes how we think, feel, and connect. Trust us, you won't want to miss it. Until then, be well, be still, be real. We're so glad you're here.